Welcome, everyone. We're diving deep today into the Lotus Sutra.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, and this is a key text for Mahayana Buddhism, and we're using a translation from the BDK English Tripitaka Project,
Okay.
which, they're trying to bring the whole Buddhist canon into English.
It's a massive undertaking, isn't it? Just incredible.
It is incredible.
The amount of work that must go into that.
Yeah, just making these ancient texts accessible
Yeah,
to people.
to everyone.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, so the Lotus Sutra itself is, well, it's really intriguing. It's
And influential.
influential. Yeah, its ideas have really shaped Buddhist thought for centuries.
For centuries. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was just reading the foreword to our translation,
Okay.
and it just gives you a sense of the journey these words have taken.
Really?
Like, we're talking ancient Sanskrit manuscripts,
Wow.
like the Kashgar manuscript, fragments scattered across continents over centuries.
Yeah.
And it's kind of mind-blowing to think about, like, holding this book
Right.
and just knowing where these words have come from.
It adds another layer to the whole experience of reading it,
It really does.
doesn't it? To know the history,
Yeah.
the translation work.
Yeah, the painstaking work of translation.
Yeah, it just deepens the appreciation for the text.
Absolutely.
Like a bridge across time and cultures.
It really is.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about, like, what makes the Lotus Sutra so special. For me, it's the boldness of its claims.
Okay.
Like, it introduces this concept of the single Buddha vehicle,
Okay.
which is the idea that everyone, regardless of their background or spiritual practice, can achieve Buddhahood.
Everyone.
Everyone.
That's a pretty radical notion.
It is,
Okay.
especially considering the context in which it emerged.
Right?
Ancient India had very rigid social structures.
Absolutely.
And to say that enlightenment was accessible to all, regardless of caste or gender,
It would have been revolutionary.
it would have been revolutionary at the time. Completely challenges those traditional hierarchies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the Lotus Sutra doesn't just state this idea.
Right.
It brings it to life through stories and metaphors.
Ooh, I love a good metaphor.
Like the parable of the burning house.
Oh, yes. A classic.
Right. So tell me about that one.
Okay, so there's this wealthy man,
Okay.
and his children are trapped inside a burning house.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense situation.
Yeah.
So to lure his children out, he promises them different kinds of carts.
Okay.
Like, maybe you'll get a goat cart or a deer cart
Mm-hmm.
or even a really fancy elephant cart.
Wow. So he's appealing to their desires.
Exactly.
Ah.
He knows what will motivate them.
Yeah.
But here's the twist. When they're all safely outside, he gives them all the same magnificent cart.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful image.
It is, but what does it mean? Like, if the magnificent cart symbolizes enlightenment,
Okay.
what do the different carts represent for us?
Yeah, it's a great question.
Like, could they be the various spiritual practices we encounter in life? Or even the different paths we choose, the careers we pursue, the relationships we form?
It makes you think.
Yeah, are they all ultimately leading us towards the same destination?
That's a fascinating interpretation.
Yeah.
It suggests that our diverse experiences,
Mm-hmm.
even those that seem mundane or disconnected from spiritual pursuits,
Right.
could all be part of a larger journey towards awakening.
Wow.
The Lotus Sutra seems to imply that there's no one right path,
Okay.
but rather a multitude of ways
Yeah.
leading to the same ultimate goal.
I like that. So that brings us to another central concept,
Okay?
the immeasurable lifespan of the Buddha.
Ah, yes.
The Lotus Sutra claims that the Buddha didn't actually enter parinirvana.
Right.
Like, his lifespan is beyond our comprehension.
That's where the concept of skillful means comes into play.
Okay, skillful means.
Or upaya.
Upaya.
Yeah. The Lotus Sutra suggests that the Buddha intentionally presented himself as entering parinirvana
Oh, okay.
as a teaching strategy.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be a bit deceptive?
Well, it's a question that has puzzled many scholars,
I bet.
but the Lotus Sutra explains it like this.
Okay.
Sometimes we need a little push to break free from our attachments.
Okay.
If people believed the Buddha was gone, they wouldn't rely on his physical presence,
Right.
and they would be motivated
Yeah.
to deepen their own practice.
Okay, so it's like tough love.
Kind of. Like a parent letting go of their child's bike so they can learn to ride on their own.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
A little bit of a tough love approach,
Right.
but ultimately for the benefit of the learner.
Right. So this idea of skillful means,
Yeah,
it really highlights the compassionate nature of the Buddhist teachings.
absolutely.
Right.
He adapts his approach to meet people where they are gently guiding them toward greater understanding.
That makes sense. But okay, here's another question.
Okay.
If the Buddha has been around for an immeasurable time, constantly working to liberate beings, why haven't we all achieved enlightenment already?
That's a good question.
It is.
And the Lotus Sutra addresses this by saying that not everyone is ready
Okay.
to receive the full extent of the Buddha's wisdom.
Hmm.
It's like trying to explain quantum physics to someone who hasn't even learned basic arithmetic. It needs to be a foundation of understanding.
So it's not a matter of the Buddha withholding knowledge,
Right.
but rather of us developing the capacity to receive it.
Exactly. Like those bodhisattvas who emerged from the earth.
Oh, yeah.
When the Buddha revealed his true lifespan,
Yeah.
they were ready. They had been diligently practicing,
Right.
and the time was right for their awakening.
So they were prepared.
They were prepared.
And that's a powerful message for all of us.
It is.
The Lotus Sutra suggests that we all have this potential for enlightenment within us, waiting to be cultivated.
Waiting to blossom.
Yeah, exactly. So, speaking of those bodhisattvas,
Okay.
the Lotus Sutra is filled with incredible stories
Oh, yeah.
and predictions.
Some really wild ones.
Yeah. We have tales of individuals who overcome incredible obstacles to achieve Buddhahood. Like the Naga King's daughter,
Oh, yes.
who attained enlightenment instantly.
Instantly. Imagine that.
It really challenges those traditional views about who is worthy of awakening. It does. It says that anyone can achieve it. Yeah. It's really about breaking down barriers.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
These stories aren't just entertaining.
Right.
They're meant to inspire us
Yeah.
and challenge our assumptions.
Mhm.
The Lotus Sutra repeatedly emphasizes that the path to enlightenment is open to all beings,
To all beings.
regardless of gender,
Yeah.
social standing,
Oh,
or even species.
wow. It's a very radical message of inclusivity.
It is.
And one of the most compelling stories for me is that of Bodhisattva Buddha.
Oh, Satapara Buddha.
He was ridiculed for claiming that all beings could become Buddhas.
Poor guy.
I know. But his story is a testament to the power of perseverance and faith.
Yeah, he never gave up on his belief.
He didn't, even though he faced constant mockery.
It's inspiring.
It is.
Yeah.
He never wavered in his conviction.
Ultimately, he achieved profound spiritual realization.
Yeah, proving his detractors wrong.
Right. It shows that even in the face of adversity, we could stay true to our understanding of the Dharma.
That's a powerful lesson. There's a real lesson there about staying true to your understanding of the Dharma,
Absolutely.
even when others doubt or dismiss you.
Don't let the haters get you down.
Right. But what struck me is the Lotus Sutra's insistence on its own importance.
Oh, yeah.
It claims that even hearing a single verse can plant the seeds of enlightenment.
It's a bold statement for sure,
It is.
but it reflects the deep reverence and significance
Mm-hmm.
attributed to this text
Okay.
within the Buddhist tradition.
So it's not just about passive listening.
Right.
The Lotus Sutra even includes protective dharanis,
Yeah.
powerful incantations meant to safeguard those who preserve and teach the sutra.
It's like the text itself has a protective aura.
It's amazing, ensuring its survival and transmission across generations.
It speaks to the power of words.
Yeah.
The idea that these teachings are not just abstract concepts,
Right.
but potent forces
Yeah.
capable of transforming individuals and shaping the world.
And the Lotus Sutra is full of these potent stories,
Oh, yeah. So many stories.
each revealing another layer of its wisdom, like the tale of King Subhavyuha,
Ooh, yes. King Subhavyuva.
who renounced his kingdom to follow the Buddha's teachings.
That's dedication.
It is. And in a fascinating twist,
Okay, tell me more.
King Subhavyuha is revealed to be the Bodhisattva Padmashirli.
Whoa.
Yeah, demonstrating that spiritual practice can continue across lifetimes.
That's mind-blowing.
It is. It makes you wonder, could we have encountered the Dharma in past lives?
It's a fascinating question.
Like planting seeds
Yeah.
that are blossoming in this lifetime.
Maybe our connection to the Dharma runs deeper than we realize.
It really makes you reconsider the scope of spiritual development.
It does.
And if that's the case, what does it mean for our present actions?
Good question.
Are we simply living out this life?
Yeah.
Or are we actively shaping our future
Yeah.
and perhaps even influencing our past?
It's a lot to ponder.
It is. It's like we're all on this vast cosmic tapestry, woven together through lifetimes of experiences and encounters with the Dharma.
That's beautiful.
The Lotus Sutra really opens up that perspective. But
Yeah.
let's go back to this idea of the Buddha's immeasurable lifespan.
Okay.
The text uses some pretty mind-boggling analogies to describe it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like,
I mean,
it talks about grinding the entire earth into ink.
wow.
and then traveling across countless worlds, dropping a single speck of ink every 1,000 worlds. And the Buddha's lifespan is longer than it would take to use up all that ink.
It's like trying to grasp infinity.
Right.
It makes those ancient Sanskrit manuscripts feel even more awe-inspiring.
Absolutely.
But it's not just about a vast number. It's
Yeah.
about conveying the boundless nature of the Buddha's compassion and wisdom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about emphasizing that the Buddha has been tirelessly working to liberate beings for an inconceivable amount of time.
Right. But then that raises the question.
Okay.
If the Buddha's been around for so long, why is there still suffering?
That's the age-old question, isn't it?
Why haven't we all reached enlightenment yet?
Well, the Lotus Sutra acknowledges that not everyone is ready
Okay.
to receive the full extent of the Buddha's wisdom. It's like, trying to explain really complex concepts to a child who hasn't developed the necessary cognitive ability.
Oh, so it's like a teacher adapting their lessons to meet the needs of their students.
Precisely. The Buddha uses various teachings and methods, skillful means, to guide beings gradually toward greater understanding.
So that's why there are so many different schools of Buddhism,
Yeah.
various practices and interpretations of the teachings.
Exactly. They're all skillful means to help beings progress on the path.
It's fascinating to consider, isn't it, that all these seemingly diverse approaches might ultimately be leading towards the same goal?
Yeah.
Like those different carts in the burning house parable?
Indeed, the Lotus Sutra seems to be emphasizing that the path to enlightenment is not a rigid one-size-fits-all approach. It's a dynamic journey that unfolds in response to our individual needs and capacities.
And that brings us back to the idea that the Buddha's teachings are always available, eternally present. Knowing that he has this immeasurable lifespan, it's almost like he's still with us,
Yes.
guiding us even now.
It certainly adds a different dimension to his teachings, doesn't it? It's not just about remembering words spoken centuries ago. It's about connecting to a living presence, a boundless source of wisdom and compassion.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most powerful aspects of the Lotus Sutra. It's not just a historical document or set of rules, it's an invitation to engage in a transformative journey, knowing that we have the support of countless awakened beings, including the Buddha himself, who is always there guiding us toward our own potential.
And the Lotus Sutra doesn't just tell us this. It shows us through these incredible stories, like the one where the Buddha is surrounded by countless Buddhas from other worlds.
Oh, yes. It's like a cosmic gathering of awakened beings, all coming together to bear witness to the power of the Lotus Sutra.
It's an awe-inspiring scene, meant to convey the vastness of the Buddha's enlightenment and the interconnectedness of all things. The Lotus Sutra highlights that we're not alone on this journey. Countless beings have achieved awakening, and their wisdom and compassion are available to us.
And it's not just about distant Buddhas in other realms. Remember the story of Kraputaratna the Buddha, who emerged from his jeweled stupa specifically to hear the Lotus Sutra being taught?
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
It's like saying that even Buddhas who have seemingly passed on are still drawn to the profound wisdom of this text.
It reinforces the idea that these teachings are timeless and eternally relevant, capable of inspiring and guiding beings throughout countless lifetimes.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the transformative power of the Lotus Sutra itself. It's not just a collection of stories and teachings. It's a living entity, a source of profound wisdom and spiritual energy.
And it emphasizes that engaging with the Lotus Sutra isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's a practice that can lead to genuine transformation.
Right.
Remember those bodhisattvas emerging from the earth?
Yeah.
It's like the Lotus Sutra has the power to awaken something within us, too.
What's intriguing is that the text doesn't just talk about individual transformation, but also the positive impact sharing the Lotus Sutra can have on the world. It even describes specific benefits for those who teach and protect it.
Oh, right. There are whole chapters dedicated to the merits gained by those who preserve, recite, and explain the Lotus Sutra.
It speaks to the importance of transmitting these teachings and ensuring they remain accessible for future generations. And remember those protective dharanis we discussed. It's as if the Lotus Sutra has a built-in defense system ensuring its survival and continued influence.
It's remarkable, isn't it? The way the Lotus Sutra weaves together these profound teachings, inspiring stories, and even protective measures to safeguard its transmission. It speaks to the depth of wisdom and compassion at the heart of the text.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the impact our actions can have. Not just on ourselves, but on the world around us.
Right.
If the Lotus Sutra is right, and even hearing a verse can plant seeds of enlightenment, then sharing these teachings becomes an incredibly powerful act.
It really does. And the Lotus Sutra goes even further, describing incredible benefits that come to those who teach and protect it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there are passages that talk about attaining unimaginable wealth, good health, and even protection from harm.
And so, like, the Lotus Sutra itself is a source of blessings radiating positive energy out into the world.
It's a fascinating concept, isn't it? It suggests that engaging with this text is not merely an intellectual pursuit, but a transformative practice with tangible benefits.
And those benefits extend beyond the individual.
Absolutely.
Lotus Sutra paints a picture of a world transformed by its teachings, a world where compassion and wisdom flourish.
Like those descriptions of the bodhisattvas emerging from the earth.
Oh, yeah. Remember, the Lotus Sutra describes them as having incredible powers,
Right.
the ability to see across vast distances, to hear sounds from throughout the cosmos.
Those passages always felt so mystical to me.
Yeah.
Like glimpses into a realm beyond our ordinary perception.
They're not meant to be taken literally, of course.
Right.
These descriptions are symbolic pointing to the boundless potential that unfolds as we progress on the path.
It's like saying, hey, if you dedicate yourself to these teachings, even this level of wisdom and insight is possible.
Exactly.
It's incredibly inspiring.
It speaks to the transformative power of the Lotus Sutra itself. It's not just about information or intellectual understanding. It's about awakening to a deeper reality, a reality where limitations fall away and our true potential shines forth.
But the Lotus Sutra acknowledges that this path isn't always easy.
Right.
There will be challenges, doubts, and even opposition.
Absolutely. Just look at Bodhisattva Buddha.
Sattva Buddha.
Yeah, he was constantly ridiculed for his belief that all beings could become Buddhas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
His story is a powerful reminder that staying true to the Dharma requires courage and resilience. It's easy to get discouraged when faced with skepticism or even hostility.
Yet Buddha never wavered.
He didn't.
He faced those challenges with compassion and continued to believe in the potential of even those who mocked him.
He embodied the true spirit of the teachings.
There's a profound lesson there about the nature of true understanding.
Right.
It's not about forcing our views on others or engaging in debates. It's about holding on to that inner conviction while remaining open and compassionate.
It's about becoming living examples of the transformative power of the Lotus Sutra.
So as we conclude our deep dive into the Lotus Sutra, we're left with a sense of wonder and possibility.
I know, it's really been an incredible journey.
We've encountered a text that proclaims the immeasurable lifespan of the Buddha, the universality of the path to enlightenment, and the profound impact these teachings can have on individuals and the world.
It's a text that invites us to look within, to recognize our own potential for awakening, and to embrace a vision of reality where limitations dissolve and boundless compassion guides our every step.
The Lotus Sutra whispers this final provocative message.
Okay, I'm listening.
What if we're all bodhisattvas in the making, each carrying the seeds of enlightenment within? The potential is there waiting to be cultivated. It's up to us to nurture those seeds, to embrace the path, and to discover for ourselves the boundless possibilities that await.